outside. But knowing it was visiting night, I did plan something, short, but yet personal, because, if you're going to be short, you're not going to be personal, because they're going to stop paying attention to you. And we need to realize our enemies. We know Satan is the enemy. Our adversary, the devil, is a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. But as Brother Mike was reading to us in Hebrews, as he read about he is being tempted, he is able to succor us because he was tempted like as we are. As Brother Mike then read to us about that there's neither a creature that is not manifest in sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him whom we have to do. That's not the verse I meant to read. The one above that is what I meant to read. The one where it said that he's a discerner of the joints and marrow, and discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. It's reminding us that he looks into our thoughts and our hearts, and then the way that the Lord works to lead things to pass. The reading that Dad did of the explanation, expounding upon the Lord's Prayer, as it got to the part of lead us not into temptation. What was it? I ain't going to ask you what I preached about this morning, because he done told you. If you're really embarrassed, then you still forgot. But I ask you the next question, even simpler. What did the reading he said? Lead us not into temptation. Can you pray, lead us not into temptation? What did it say? If you put yourself there. I put myself into more temptations than Satan don't have to follow me around. As he goes to and fro seeking whom he may devour, he knows he don't have to spend much time on my doorstep, because I can cause my own problems quite well. I'm pretty good at causing my own problems. I mess things up. Brother Mike was only confessing as, he messes things up while I'm right on his team. I mess things up really bad. Actually, it'd be a good competition. I think I could top him a few times. I can make bigger messes. I can cause problems. I am my own worst enemy. One of the times, in 2 Corinthians chapter 10, this crutch verse that I used to hound us with, because I wanted to pound it in, that we be reminded to bring our thoughts into captivity, because my thinking causes my problems. I'm fighting myself. The trusting and obeying I preached of this morning, the reason I don't obey at times is I may search and seek and find and self-justify reasons I'm not being obedient. Well, it's because, but the truth of the matter is I chose not to. And it comes down to my own problems. I put my own self in temptation. And if I can learn, 2 Corinthians 10:5, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Here we twist back to the trust and obey, as I do try to make a hinge verse starting off Sunday evening from the Sunday morning service. The obedience from this morning. I can trust the Lord better if I bring my thoughts into obedience as well. Because I need to bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. If I want my body to be obedient to the Lord, if I may put my mind in obedience first, then I'm okay. It's much easier. This is a theme I preach often. A topic I interject in many different messages, but it's because of the importance that I need to be reminded I'm my own worst enemy. I cause my own problems. As Dad can tell you that, me growing up, most of the time I caused my own problems. And one few problems that I didn't start, I sure figured out a way to make them worse. By trying to take care of myself, or trying to get out of it myself, or if I didn't get in trouble, I made it worse myself. So, my own worst enemy. Bring into captivity these thoughts, and life gets better for me. In James chapter 1. James chapter 1 verse 12. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation. Brother Mike read to us so beautifully that he makes a way, succor us to be tempted, because he knows how we're tempted. He makes a way to escape, we read other times. But now we find, blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he has tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Let no man say when he is tempted, I'm tempted of God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. The Lord model prayer. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, we know. But as the expounding dad read, lead us not into temptation. Well, he won't. But I can find my own way there. You know, I need to follow him. He's not going to lead me to temptation. I know he won't. But yet I can find myself there. He won't tempt me with evil. He can't. But I can put it my own way. Verse 14, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin when it is finished bringeth forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. You know, we give Satan a lot more credit than he deserves. We really do. I've heard that statement. I've learned to appreciate it. We do give him more credit than he deserves. Give him more authority. Give him more power than he really deserves. You want to trace it back to the root of really where problems come? If I am totally 100% reliant and trusting and obedient to the Lord, every fiery dart of the wicked one shall be quenched by the armor of God. Amen? Amen. Therefore, if one got through, can I blame the one that shot the arrow or blame the chink in the armor that let it through? Because when an arrow gets through, it ultimately comes back to be my fault. Ultimately speaking, finding the root of my problems comes back to being my flesh. I let it through. I let it get me. I let it tear me up. I let it again. Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed, and when lust hath conceived, bring forth sin, and sin when it is finished, bring forth death. It comes back to we fight ourselves. And the quicker I can realize I'm fighting myself, then the quicker I can rely upon God more, and I really know how to look at it, to find the true root of it. And in Ephesians in chapter 6, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against what? I heard most of you mumble the next verses because it's a common passage we read often. So exactly what does that mean? Just exactly what is wrestling principalities? Exactly just how do I do that? The scripture says I'm doing it, so obviously I must be. But exactly what is that? Ephesians 6 and verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. If I put the whole armor on, I'm going to be able to stand. If I don't put the whole armor on, then I'm not going to be able to stand. And you cannot blame the devil for me not putting the whole armor on. Verse 12. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplications for all saints. This morning, trusting and obeying. Do we truly trust in God? Then obey God. Do you trust in the armor of God? Do you have confidence that the armor of God is able to protect you from Satan? Yes or no? If you believe it, then why don't you put it on? I mean, do we believe these warm clothes are going to protect us? Obviously we do, because we still have some on, and the coat rack back there is full. Had confidence that putting the coat on was going to protect you and make you warmer, because you put it on and wore it. And when you get cold, it's because you don't have a coat on. My children, how many of you like picking on my girls because they don't like wearing coats, do they? So they get cold, but when they're cold, it's their fault because they chose not to put a coat on. What about when we get shot with a dart from Satan? Who's going to really blame? Well, the devil made you do it. Well, if you had the armor of God on, could he have made you do it? So it goes back to your fault. If you would have prepared yourself, then you wouldn't have got shot. You wouldn't have been hit with an arrow. You would, if you trust in the armor of God, then put it on. Our flesh is a problem. We need to acknowledge it and deal with it. We're going to close in the book of Romans. Anybody want to guess what chapter? 8? Close. 7. Chapter 7 of Romans. It's not what I want to do that I do. It's not me that did it. It's not this. It's not that. It's kind of a tongue-twisting, confusing thing. Take the time to read it slowly, and you'll get Paul is acknowledging his flesh isn't very good, but the Spirit is. We're going to start in Romans chapter 7, verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just and good. Was then that which is good made death unto me? God forbid. But sin, that it might appear sin, working death in me, by that which is good, that sin, by the commandment, might become exceedingly sinful. So again, holy. The law was holy, and the commandment was holy, and was just, and was good. Think about this real quick. I don't want to get sidetracked on a rabbit here. But comparing the Old Testament to the New Testament, we've looked at recently that he didn't come to destroy it and make anew. He came to fulfill. And he came because man couldn't do it. Man couldn't do it the way God wanted it done. Man was incapable of keeping the law and keeping the commandments. Have you ever told someone how to do something? And told them how to do something? And told them how to do something? And they kept messing it up, and they kept messing it up, and they kept messing it up, and you kept telling them they kept messing it up. Have you ever said or thought, here, just let me do it? You know, I remember the time Dad just snatched, just let me do it. But I kept messing up. There's time my children, I just snatched, just get on the way. Let me do it. Because you can't get it. Just let me do it. And in essence, that's kind of what Christ has done, isn't it? Because we, as fleshly humans, was unable to keep the old law. So Christ says, just let me do it. And he came, and he wants to dwell within us. Because our flesh can't do it, can it? But the Spirit can, if we just let Christ do it. So just think about that. Just let me do it. Just let Christ do it. Fleshly, we can't. So the law was fine. Man was the problem. Verse 14. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that I do, I not. But what I hate, that do I. If then I do that which I would not, I consent in the law that it is good. Now then is not more, now then is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. For the will is present with me. But how to perform that which is good I find not. For the good that I would I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. Now if I do that I would not, it is no more I that do it, but sin that dwelleth in me. I find in the law that when I would do good, evil is present with me, for I delight in the law of God after the inward man. And he goes on, but I want to stop and read verse 17 once again as the final passage. Because as Romans 7 can be considered a tongue-twisting, well, just what in the world is he talking about? Well, he's talking about verse 18, rather, I said 7. Verse 18 ultimately is what he's really trying to express. And what I want us to grasp out of this getting personal short message, for I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. Well, how is that personal? Well, it's personal when I say, for I know that in you there is no good thing. Because in all of us, there is no good thing. Each and every one of us here, there is no good thing. For our flesh, there dwelleth no good thing. For the will is present with me and with us. We all want to do good. Which one of you is as good as you want to be? I put my hands in my pocket for a reason. So I don't bid on nothing and scratch my nose on accident. You know, it's because there's nothing good in me. So we find again that I want to do good. It's present with me. But how to perform that which is good, I find not. My flesh can't do it. I need Christ to just take it and let him do it. That's what the old law is. Christ, the new law is just let me do it. Just give it here, I'll take it, I'll do it. I'll show you how to do it, and I'll do it for you. Our flesh, we need to acknowledge, needs to be brought into subjection. our flesh, there's no good thing in our flesh. We need to realize each and every one of us today still need God, amen? And we will just close with that. So, this is our business meeting night. As we enter into business meeting, Brother Bill, would you listen to prayer, please?